Welcome back to the CV Brothers podcast. In our last video, we discussed episodes 4 and 5 of the Star Wars original trilogy. In the past, we had gone over episodes 1, 2, and 3, telling the story of Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Satine as they battled during the Clone Wars before the rise of the Empire. In the last video, we were able to understand the creation of this ragtag group in the rebellion of Luke, Han, Leia, and Chewie. We were also able to find more training for Luke at Dagobah with Obi-Wan's ghost and the exiled Jedi Master Yoda. Eventually, Han was frozen in carbonite, and Luke had a secret revealed to him of his true parentage and how Obi-Wan had been the one to kill them. With more questions than answers, we come back to the story of Luke, Leia, and now Lando as they help the rebellion fight the Empire. I hope you enjoy the video. If you do, leave a comment. If you don't, leave a comment. Now let's finish Star Wars, the original trilogy, in my Star Wars. Star Wars Episode 6, The Return of the Jedi. 2 years after the Battle of Hoth and Luke's duel with Vader were hard on the rebellion. They were constantly on the run, but they continually gained sympathy and support across the galaxy, causing their numbers to swell. They eventually created an interconnected fleet or armada that served as a base of operations as they transported around the galaxy. During this time, unrest began to grow within the Empire. The people of the galaxy had grown tired of the lies and the oppressive rule of the Empire and the Emperor. Luke had received a cybernetic hand and was able to construct a new lightsaber. He continued learning about the Force and teaching the members of the Rogue Squadron. While the rebellion prepared for their next move and waited for more intel from their spies, Luke, Leia, Chewie, and Lando went to the crime lord Jabba the Hutt to retrieve the frozen Han. Their initial plan did not work, but they managed to rescue Han and destroy Jabba's operation, defeating a powerful crime lord on the outer rim of the galaxy. The team returned to the fleet, with the exception of Luke, who finally returned to Dagobah and to Yoda. Yoda's health had drastically diminished since Luke had last visited. At well over 900 years old, he did not have much time left. Yoda tried to give Luke what information he could before he died. He told Luke that there was another skywalker. Outside of Yoda's home, Obi-Wan's ghost appeared to Luke. Luke angrily demanded answers for his past, his parents, who Vader was, and who the other Skywalker was. Obi-Wan realized that this is why Luke had not spoken to him in 2 years, and finally came clean. He told Luke of Duchess Satine, of Anakin and Obi-Wan's love for her, how she ended up being twins, how Anakin and Obi-Wan had fallen in love with a different twin and did not know it. He told Luke about Ndu Vajun, who had betrayed them and the Jedi and become Darth Vader, how Anakin and Satine had died, and how Obi-Wan had sent Luke's sister and the other Satine away to be safe. Obi-Wan had taken Luke to Tatooine and tried to take care of him, but the Force led him to people who were better at raising Luke. Obi-Wan gave Luke to Anakin and Kira and promised to watch over them as they took care of and raised Luke. They were killed when Luke was 8, and then Owen and Beru raised him. Obi-Wan admitted he never truly found out who he had married, who the father of the babies was, and where they had gone. The Clone Wars were truly a dark time for the galaxy, and they left Obi-Wan with nothing but pain. Luke became even more enraged with Obi-Wan for keeping all of these lies from him and keeping the truth, but he also pitied him. Palpatine had taken everything away from both of them. The Last Jedi wanted Luke to defeat the Sith once and for all. Luke told him he could not make things right by simply killing a killer. He believed that if Vader, was once a Jedi, then a glimmer of hope and redemption remained within him. The rebellion found out the Empire had been building a second Death Star. It seemed Palpatine was obsessed with his initial idea. This Death Star was almost completed, and they planned to attack it before it could hurt anyone else in the galaxy. A small team was needed to sneak onto the planet and deactivate the shield generator around the space station that would allow the fleet to come in, attack, and destroy the new Death Star. The strike force was led by Han, Leia, Chewie, Luke, and a handful of rogues, the rest planning on helping out in the space battle itself. When the strike team arrived, they found there was not only one almost finished Death Star, but two others being constructed nearby. The strike team landed on this planet of Endor and was able to convince the natives to help them take down the generator and the facility around it. Luke, however, left the group and allowed himself to be captured. While they traveled from Endor up to the Death Star, Vader and Luke tried to manipulate each other into joining the other's side, but they were both far too stubborn. Vader had made sure to station his loyalist fleet members close to the Death Star to assist him in taking over the Empire and defeating Palpatine. On the ground, the strike force attacked the shield generator, but they were delayed due to the Empire having prepared for such an attack. This caused the rebel fleet to arrive before the shield was down. The rogue squadron quickly pivoted and took control of the attack, calling for all forces to engage the Imperial ships as close as they could to try and stop them from destroying the rebel fleet out of self-preservation. In the ground assault, Leia was shot and Han seemingly killed trying to protect her. This caused Chewie to go berserk and to sacrifice himself in glorious battle to protect all of the rebels. Emperor Palpatine greeted Luke and began taunting him about the battles and how the Empire would eventually win. Palpatine instructed Luke to strike him down and to join the dark side. Luke's fear and anger rose up within him, and he tried to attack Palpatine. But Vader stopped the blow from connecting. Vader and Luke battled back and forth until Luke cut off Vader's right hand, revealing a cybernetic hand, just like Luke's. At this sight, Luke gave pause and collected himself. Palpatine noted Luke was powerful enough to strike down Vader and take his place as Palpatine's new apprentice. Luke told the Emperor that he would not kill Vader, but that he was now a Jedi. As Vader arose with one hand, Palpatine unleashed a volley of force lightning at Luke. In pain, Luke called out for Vader's help. He tried to plead with a Jedi deep inside the metal shell. On the ground, Han recovered amidst the battle. His missing arm did slow him down, but he managed to get into the generator and disable the shields around the Death Star. This allowed Lando and the rebels to get into the Death Star and begin dismantling it the best that they could. The Death Star, which was operational, had been firing at the rebel fleet, hitting Imperial ships in the process. This caused a lot of distrust in the Empire. Many captains wanted to protect their men and the fleet. Lando and the few other fighters flew into the heart of the space station and just tried to disrupt the core. However, their weapons were not powerful enough. Lando decided to sacrifice himself to redeem him from his past actions and save his friends. This caused the whole core to become unstable and it began to self-destruct. Luke called out in pain, first again for Vader, and then for Idune's help. Vader stood there and realized he was nothing more than a pawn to Palpatine, and as he had been the whole time. Throughout his training, throughout the Clone Wars, the rise of the Empire, he was truly nothing but a pawn. Vader took his red blade and stabbed it through Palpatine. The Emperor turned to his apprentice and blasted him with force lightning as well, but eventually collapsed in front of Vader and Luke. Luke got up as the ship began to self-destruct. He grabbed Vader and tried to bring him to a ship to get him off of the station. Vader insisted his suit was beyond repair and he did not deserve to be saved. Luke pointed out how Indu saved him in the end and promised to give Indu a Jedi funeral, as Indu had died in his arms. What was left of the Imperial fleet quickly left as the 3 Death Stars collided into each other and crashed into Endor's surface. The Rebel fleet stayed on Endor to help rebuild and celebrate their victory. Luke gave Indu, Vader, a proper burial and promised the ghost of Obi-Wan, Yoda, and Anakin that he would rebuild the Jedi and continue their mission to bring peace to the galaxy. Han and Leia solidified their relationship as she healed up from her wounds and he received a new arm.